Hi, my name is Simone Carot Collins and I'm a Rotarian in Perth, Western Australia, this year serving as an Assistant District Governor. I'm in the process of starting up my district's first E-Club in District 9455, so it's a particular pleasure to interact with Rotarians in other E-Clubs. I'm delighted to speak to you today about a topic that I'm passionate about, social networking, and in particular the Rotarians on Social Networks Fellowship, which I helped found, and I have recently completed my term as Charter Chair. The Rotarians on Social Networks Fellowship was formed in 2009 and approved as an official fellowship by Rotary International in June 2010. It came into being because it became evident that there was a huge misconception among Rotarians about what social networking is and how safe it is to use the various sites. I was astounded at just how many of the more technically able Rotarians that I met were very anti-social networking sites such as Facebook, as they'd heard a lot of negatives about social networking and weren't willing to see that the privacy and security issues they raised applied to any online activity, including sending emails, and it's not limited to social media. And they certainly weren't willing to hear about the positive things you could do with social media. Back in 2009, Rotaractors had been using Facebook and other social networks extensively for years, but Rotarians were on the whole very reluctant to give it a try, viewing Facebook especially with a suspicion. Although Rotary International had started promoting the use of Facebook, LinkedIn and Twitter, it didn't provide support in using any of them. So the fellowship was born first and foremost to provide education and training about social networking, because that was something that was not offered anywhere else. Rotary International offers official Rotary channels on various sites, and anyone can start up a Rotary-related group or network. While we have some groups and pages of our own in the fellowship, we aren't competing with what is already out there, and we most certainly don't want to reinvent the wheel. We agree that Facebook and LinkedIn are currently the best social networks for connecting to other members of the Rotary family, and we're following developments on the newly released Google Plus with interest. As such, we primarily focus on how to use social networks safely and effectively for Rotary service and fellowship, while providing links to many of the existing groups, pages and tools that may be of interest to Rotarians and Rotaractors. And we endeavour to fill any gaps that we find through collaborating on new tools and applications within the existing social networks. Our website at rosnf.net serves as our central hub. A lot of our activities take place on Facebook, primarily through our Facebook page, but also our member-only group. And initially, we ran the bulk of our fellowship activities through Facebook. But our website now plays a greater role, as not everyone wants to use Facebook for Rotary matters. Our website is the place to go if you'd like to join the Rotarians on Social Networks Fellowship, and that then grants you access to various member-only groups on our website, Facebook and LinkedIn, where you can be sure that the people you are interacting with are all Rotarians or Rotaractors. Many people mistakenly believe that the official Rotary International group on LinkedIn is restricted to just Rotarians who are vetted by Rotary International staff, but that's not the case. There's actually members of the general public in there, as well as Rotarians and Rotaractors. As far as I'm aware, our fellowship Facebook and LinkedIn groups are the only active general Rotary groups that are restricted to Rotaractors and Rotarians, and we do our best to ensure the validity of our members. Information available to the general public on our site includes our central repository of training materials about using various social networks, and a links directory of Rotary and member social networking profiles, pages, groups and tools. The training materials include a smaller selection of the articles posted regularly on our Facebook page, as well as social networking presentations given by our members that others can adapt for their own use. Other activities of our fellowship include collaborative Google Maps, where you can drill down by countries and zones to districts and individual club meeting locations of brick and mortar Rotary and Rotaract clubs. And we'd love anybody willing to help fill in any gaps, help us with our Google Maps. We also have the beginnings of a Rotary hashtag dictionary for standardising Rotary and Rotaract use of Twitter, and blogs by various members on a wide range of Rotary topics. One of our newest projects is called Hugger Club, where we help Rotary pages on Facebook get up to at least 25 likes so they can set a vanity URL for their pages, which is a short, memorable web address to be able to quickly access that page. Our Facebook group contains a list of Rotary Facebook pages, and members who have a page that is in need of more likes can add their page to the list, providing that they too like other pages on the list, reciprocating the favour and learning more about what is going on elsewhere in the Rotary world in the process. So who benefits from joining the Rotarians on Social Networks Fellowship? Well, we cater to Rotarians, Rotaractors and Rotarian spouses with all levels of experience, from those who are just starting out with social networking through to experts. There is no cost to join our fellowship. For those who don't know what social networking is, or why they should give it a try, we help allay people's fears and misconceptions. Our members regularly give talks and seminars at club and district meetings, at the Rotary International Convention, and even in webinars. In fact, all except one of the panellists on Rotary International's social media webinars back in February 2011 were members of the Rotarians and Social Networks Fellowship. And I've recently returned from my second trip over to Sydney to train staff of our regional Rotary magazine, the Rotary Down Under, on a wide range of social networking topics. For those that are just starting out with social networking, we explain things like what the difference is between a group and a page, or a Facebook group versus a LinkedIn group, and where you can find Rotarians on the different platforms. I've mentioned that we post articles on our Facebook page and website, and these vary from news about the latest changes to privacy settings, new networks and tools that are launched, such as Google+, examples of effective use of social media, either in a business setting or specifically for Rotary, tips for how to set up a Facebook page, alerts about the latest scams doing the round on networks, particularly Facebook, and so on. For those wanting personal help, they can ask questions in our discussion groups on our website, Facebook or LinkedIn, or they can look up a volunteer expert in a particular platform, or the champion for the district or zone. For those that are more comfortable with using social networking, we provide tools and tips to really use the networks and apps effectively, some of which I've already discussed. More recently, we've coordinated the issuing of invitations to join Google+, so that any member of our fellowship wanting to try it out is able to get in and find other people to use it with. We endeavoured to keep abreast of all the latest technologies, though we tend to focus on the main players rather than the myriad of Me Too sites that regularly pop up. If you're a pro, then we offer the opportunity to use your expertise to help others who are not as confident. We provide a central hub where you can be found by those that need your help to get started, and you can pick and choose what you'd like to help out with. You can offer to be a mentor or expert on a specific site such as LinkedIn, or help us program new apps. We're particularly keen to add more programmers to our team. You can sign up as a district or zone champion and take on the challenge to get social media adopted widely in your local area, or contribute to our repository of articles or blogs. There are many ways to get involved if you so choose. Or you can simply use the fellowship to connect with other members of the Rotary family. I like to think that we have something for everyone, and we are very open to new ideas. We are delighted to have some members of the Rotary E-Club of District 3170 numbered amongst the Rotarians and Social Networks Fellowship, and would welcome anyone else who would like to participate in what we offer. E-clubs are a particularly hot topic in our fellowship at the moment, with a number of our members belonging to recently chartered e-clubs or being in the process of forming an e-club themselves. We'd certainly welcome your input into these discussions. These days, there is still a lot of distrust amongst older generations about social networking. When I speak to Rotary clubs about social networking, the reception is usually quite hostile. The Rotarians on Social Networks Fellowship has a big role to play in trying to bridge the gap between the average Rotarian and the younger generations. Generations X and Y use social networking extensively, and Rotary clubs that don't embrace social networking will find the generation gap widening further. At the President-elect's training seminar and district assembly in my district this year, there was a lot of focus on attracting Rotarians under age 40, yet there is a strong resistance to embracing the communication channels that people in this demographic use. I personally use social media for the bulk of my communications. It's my source of news, my way of keeping in touch with friends, family and acquaintances, provides my entertainment, and is the main way that I organise events. These days, it's largely taken for granted that email is a necessary part of life. Even if you don't use it at home, which is becoming increasingly rare, it's required at work, and it won't be long before social media plays a similarly large role. So thank you once again for your kind invitation to address your e-club. Since your e-club had its foundation on Facebook, to some extent I'm preaching to the converted, but I hope that many of you will consider joining the Rotarians on Social Networks Fellowship and lending your expertise to others. It's been my pleasure to be included in your program, and I look forward to interacting with you further.